basic movement for building your quads, and it's one of the ones that's got the most potential for hypertrophy stimulus out of any of the lower body movements, just because it gives you really good range of motion through the knee, which is essential for growing your quads, and it also puts you in a really stable environment that doesn't require too much coordination. The main issues you see with it tend to come from the feet and the seat in terms of setup. So people often put their feet way too high, which ends up giving you a lot more flexion at the hip than at the knee. You run out of hip flexion long before you run out of knee flexion, which should never be the result you're looking for if you want to build your quads. So we want to have our feet as low as we can get them on the platform without the heels rising up at the bottom of the rep. And then we want our seat as reclined as possible in most situations, okay? We're going to pull our lower back into the seat to keep it nice and stable and stop it from rounding. And then we're going to come as low as we can without letting the heels come up or the lower back round. We're looking for a nice slow tempo on the way down, because you'll find you'll be able to get a little bit lower into the movement if you take it nice and slow on that eccentric, okay? With these, we want the toes pointed slightly out so that we're pushing the knees outside of your rib cage as you get to the bottom, rather than just folding them straight back into your chest, okay? Tend to find with these that people think that going sort of higher is going to bring more glutes or more hamstrings. Whilst you might take some off the quads, you're not going to create that good a stimulus in those other muscle groups. So I would tend to use these mainly as a quad building movement. Get your feet as low as you can and look for as much range as possible through the knees. Often if you're struggling to get any lower than this, you'll find that you're just going too heavy, and you've got to strip the weight back a little bit and pick one that you can actually train through full range of motion like this. If you're struggling with your heels coming up, using some of these stylish shoes with a heel wedge and a non-compressible sole can really help. Gives you a little bit of sort of artificial ankle mobility. And you can also stick a rolled up yoga mat or a half pad behind your lower back, just to give you a little bit more range through the hips before you run out of flexion.